oh boy, do we have a lot of stuff to go over here on the Micronesian News broadcast. So, in our very first story, an update on the Lyon Bribery case. And just a quick recap, a couple of weeks ago, Frank J. Lyons, the head of civil engineering firm based in Hawaii, Lyons & Associates, was arrested and pled guilty to bribing Hawaii state workers and FSM government officials. He did so in order to land contracts that run into the millions. And regarding to the FSM officials, there are two officials he bribed, and it was reported that he bribed them around $200,000 for a $7.8 million contract to renovate an airport here in our beloved country. And following these events, Frank J. Lyons, he was arrested and ended up pleading guilty. And then, soon after that, Master Halbert was arrested in Honolulu, accused of being Micronesian official number 1. According to these reports, it was found that he accepted bribes in the form of cash, a truck, an apartment, paying a relative's tuition to UH Manoa, and a trip to Sin City itself, Las Vegas. And these reported events of transactions for the contract of $7.8 million and the bribes he received, along with the other official, occurred from the years 2006 to 2016. So the current recent developments that we're seeing now is an email that was released by the co-owner of Lyon Associates, which is James Lyon. He is working with the federal team from America, and it was found that Christopher Ivan Christian was offered a retainer of $5,000 per month with a chance to increase to $10,000 by Frank J. Lyons when President Christian came into office. It is not clear whether he accepted or not, but many of the PMU related proposals outlined in Lyons' email suggest it was enacted. When I say PMU, I mean Program Management Union that oversees all the civil engineering stuff here in the FSM. And the email was dated from March 29, 2015. And the email outlines Lyon Associates' plan to take control of the PMU, which I just said earlier, 6 weeks after Christian received the email. In the email, names are named, prices are given, plans are laid out in detail. But why don't you check for yourself? The link will be in the description. And furthermore, what do you think? Let us know in the comments so we can start some dialogue. And in our second story, a couple of episodes ago, we shared the story that Chuuk State Political Status Movement was planning on taking Chuuk State Legislature to court. Allegations were made that Chuuk State Legislature wanted to postpone the vote for independence after the election. Well, it's true because they do. And this would just put a dent, a really solid dent, on the Chuuk State Political Status Movement efforts to try and educate the people on what the independence movement is all about and what it has in mind. Sabino Asor, one of the main leaders, or if not the main leader of the Chuuk State Political Status Movement, said that the processes to start the movement were legal, and this was a violation of freedom of speech because they are trying to educate the people on their motives, on their what they plan to do, and that's how they do it. They go out and talk. They let people know. And to counter that, Eliesa Tuiloma, Chief Legal Counsel of the Chuuk State Legislature, said that the vote has been postponed until a further date because, interestingly enough, the vote was originally supposed to be on March 2015, 4 years ago. And right now it's 2019. Elections are coming up in just a couple weeks, and it's being postponed again. So, according to Eliesa, this will allow them to look more closely at the constitutional implications. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the Chuuk State Political Status Movement, why did it even start? Well, there are those in Chuuk, I would believe also pretty much all over the FSM, that believe that Chuuk State hasn't been receiving its fair share of help and aid, even though it is the most populous state And the people of Chuuk, according to them, are very fed up with it. I mean, they're the most populous state, but yet at the same time, they're, I would say, the least developed for their size. And another thing that really gets people going about this whole Chuuk state political status movement is what's going to happen when they do get independent. Because if you remember a while back, Robert Riley, the U.S. ambassador to the FSM, put out a video, and in it he said that the Compact of Free Association, the one that we currently have, is a very unique situation and would never be enacted again, even if Chuuk State wanted to be on its own. And so this raised a lot of questions of who would be able to fill the gap of helping out Chuuk. And lo and behold, who do the people say is going to come and help Chuuk these people? Well, China, of course. People are so concerned about the big red menace that comes from the east. No, the west. It's west for us, but it's just generally termed in the east. So China, they believe, will be able to build a military base, have superb influence in Chuuk, and this would happen if the United States decided to not play ball with the new Chuuk state, if it did happen. Anyways, that's just the whole entire gist of what's happening with the whole entire Chuuk state political status movement update. And now, here are the announcements. As you are well aware, we have been announcing this so much you probably get tired of hearing it, but you're going to hear it from us again. There will be a Pohnpei State Congressional Candidate Forum. It will be held at Pohnpei State Conference Room, and the 4-year term candidates will start speaking at 11 a.m., and then the 2-year term candidates will start speaking at 2 p.m. So if you're on Pohnpei, if you're from Pohnpei, and if you're here, but if you're not from here, but if you don't live here, just tune in or come out, because you're going to be voting these people into office anyway. So it's best that you learn and hear what they have to say, and that'll probably influence your choice on who you will pick that will best represent your interests in mind. And on March 7th, in commemoration of what's happening the day after, March 8th, there will be a Women's Day event at the Pohnpei Swimming Pool, which is right down the road from CCA, right down the road from Pix High School, right next to the tennis courts, right next to the boxing gym. It'll start around 4:30 p.m., free admission, females only, yada yada. And just recently, on February 25, His Excellency Carlos Manuel Rojas Lago of Cuba presented his credentials to President Peter Christian of the FSM. They talked about Venezuela because FSM decided to back Guaido. His Excellency had a draft proposal for cooperation for medical services. Did you know Cuba actually has some of the best, if not one of the best, medical colleges, medical schools in all the world? Shocking, isn't it? Imagine my shock. And FSM is looking forward to having Cuba assist, especially in its not NCDs and programs, specifically diabetes. And we would all just like to let you know, FSM is committed to developing positive and peaceful relations with all countries, and it definitely looks forward to having a really, really stellar relation with Cuba. Now, here is my brother Norman with the weather.
Hey guys, this is Norman and this is the weather for tomorrow. 28 degrees Celsius high during the day and 24 degrees Celsius low during the night. Mostly sunny and 40% chance of precipitation and 72% of humidity. Sunrise will be at 6:40 a.m. and sunset will be at 6:59 p.m. Northeast winds 15 to 20 knots and seas will be at 6 to 8 feet high. Thanks for tuning in to the Micronesian News broadcast. Tune in every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, see you later!